I got you with the down twist. Yeah. Do you want it? Rah, rah, rah.
Fucking down twist. Gets you every time. Hey guys, I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and this is Table Talks episode 11. So this is the afterpulling from BAL 102.
And that was it was an epic event.
Epic event. There's been so much footage all over the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
Devin's posted a few videos, and they've gotten tons of views, which is awesome.
Yeah.
BAL is going to go viral.
Yeah.
We're super excited about
We're working
that.
on it. We're working on it. We got BAL 103 planned out already. We already got the matches lined up. I'll be posting them
We're even
soon.
talking about 104.
Yeah, well, we got the schedule figured out, which I'll release at some point. But point is, it will continue, and it will continue to be awesome. Hopefully, we will continue to perform the way Alex did this time, and not the way that I did. So, if you're wondering about the right-handed matches, because we released the left-handed matches a couple days ago, our footage got kind of messed up. The camera shut off, I think the heat or something.
It was like 40 degrees in Toronto.
Yeah, and so some of the footage for the right-handed matches got missed, so we weren't able to release all of them, but luckily we got all that wicked stuff between Alex and Umesh, because that was some awesome, not just arm wrestling, but arm wrestling community moments in that match. And then the left-handed matches, but Devin posted the right-handed match between Curtis and myself.
Yeah. So everyone's already seen you get floored.
Get completely floored and pork chopped. That's definitely what happened. So we're just going to talk about those matches and stuff, and what went wrong, what I learned, and everything, because you learn a lot more from your losses, and that's part of why you got to reach for goals that you might not be able to achieve.
Yeah,
because
in arm wrestling, losses are guaranteed, right?
Oh, 100%.
So
yeah.
You have to learn to accept
people you've beaten before, there's going to be times where you lose to somebody you beat before, and you go, how the fuck did that happen? And you have to learn from it and go, oh, that's what I did wrong. That's why I lost that time.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why arm wrestlers become so humble, because they deal with losses so often.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Especially just like in practice, like once there are days where you don't feel good and whatever, and it's just how shit goes. And if you get burnt, if you get your ego busted and you get destroyed every time your fucking hand hits the pad, you're not going to go far.
That's why you got hotheads with super huge egos, and then you've also got the humble, cool-headed arm wrestlers. You got both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, you do, but I think you're right where it's. I think
the best
more of them.
From their losses.
Yeah, and there's more on the humble side of the spectrum than the hotheads, and the hotheads is more just the competition time. Which, speaking of which, that kind of leads right to my match with Curtis, and my biggest lesson that I learned is that first of all, I just felt my energy was off, which is whatever excuses and bullshit, but I needed to, like Devin kept saying to me, like he even said after we talked about it, like there's, if I fight like a maniac every round, there's still a chance for me in that match, because
you left so much fight on the table.
So much fight on the table, and that's really what I learned a lot from this match, was how much the fight happens before the match, which I've heard a lot and I've thought of a lot, but the reality of it like slapped me in the face this match, and especially advocating for yourself with the ref. As much as the refs are there to do their job and enforce the rules, it's up to you to get what you want. Exactly. You can't expect them to give you exactly what you want. And the funny thing is like in my head the whole time I'm like screaming like, his fucking wrist, my side of the table, what the fuck, but like which again is no fault to the refs. And if you see Devin's angle, like round one on the right hand, he's clearly got a good bend in his wrist and over on his side of the table.
But why wouldn't he take it if it's there for
exactly.
him? Right?
And I was kind of giving it like being like, well, like expecting Dalen to just take it out, but I wasn't saying anything. I was just like in my head screaming and looking at it and looking at him, but that's not enough. And then Dalen's like going through the motions, and I didn't do anything for myself in that moment. And that's a big part that I took away from it, is that you got to fight for yourself as hard as possible.
Yeah, and then after the ready go, you kind of did the same thing that I did with Derek, messing up my drag and my back pressure.
100%.
Getting them
it's
confused.
Such a rookie mistake, and it's such an easy one to do. And I learned how much of it comes from the setup, like the way he gripped me low and with his fingers, the way he did, which I'm working on. I'm gonna figure that shit out, man. Don't you worry. But the way he did it, it really like disconnected me from my back pressure. It was like he like turned the switch off or something. Like I just couldn't feel it. And then as soon as I went to go back, instead of driving up at all towards my face, like if we had a slip, if we weren't strapped together, I wasn't punching myself in the face. I was gonna like slam myself in the stomach. Like I was just driving back with my elbow and my shoulder and completely leaving my hand behind.
Yeah.
Also because I'm trying to get to my pronation and everything, which is part of why I can't rely on, like, the King's move has to be a defensive move. If I forget to drive offensively with that post and high hit in the beginning, then I leave myself way too far out there, and with somebody with his kind of power, I'm fucked. If it's somebody who I'm 10 or 20% stronger than, I can totally lay them out and let them get stuck up in there and start to climb their hand and pull them back.
That's so true.
And that's not a problem. But when they have as much power as Curtis does, it's like no fucking chance. I need to take him as far away from his power as I can by going up and away and using as much of my levers. I didn't use my levers at all.
Yeah.
And not that, I mean, again, he said that when I first called. I said, hey, you have the strength, I might have the levers, blah blah blah, and he was like, levers don't really matter anymore, which he is strong enough that they do mitigate a lot. And I know I'm not near his strength level, but that's part of why I love this sport. I know that I'm in a realm, like he benches 500, I bench 400, like we're not so far off, but we're still with like 20% away. But that 20% can be made up in some ways, and that's part
levers is one of the ways.
Levers is one of the ways, but the big one is fighting before the match, like and that's that's one thing that I learned, the back pressure, like you said, as you learned from your match, and then just being ready to go and fired up. I think that was something with Derek's match too. You probably, how many fouls and things did you leave on the table too? If you think about it, you were maybe a little more aggressive, but
I think I only got one warning.
Yeah, but the point being is, if in knowing it now, thinking about it, you could have, like, it's the same energy. That same energy was that you had is what I had that this match. So, who knows what the reasons are? We're going to work on it, and we're going to figure out how to fix it. And you definitely fixed it for your match. I mean, that's the next thing we'll talk about is your match with the mesh, right?
Yeah, exactly. It makes me feel so much better about losing to Derek, knowing that I learned from those mistakes and I was able to put it into practice against Umesh.
Yeah.
And execute exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And you said in the afterpulling too, like he felt like proper strong. Like you were even happier with your win afterwards because of how strong he felt. Like you knew that your game plan worked. You stuck to the angles that you needed to.
Yeah, for sure. He's stronger than me. Like he benches 350 plus.
Oh yeah. He looks like jacked. Like
he's fucking jacked.
Yeah,
and that's why I had to be quick.
Does he pull 635 though?
No, he doesn't.
I'm just joking.
But I couldn't do that.
You can't do that right now anyway. But no, he looked strong and he felt strong. I pulled him later. I was exhausted, but when I pulled him later, he was proper, especially his left.
Yeah, and he beat Lewis.
Yeah, left. I didn't see that happening in Mesh. I mean, that was awesome, and like really, really, really good match.
Yeah.
But your match, you executed game plan so well.
The first round especially, I think I did lose it a little bit in the middle when I got caught inside the hook in the second round, and then on that third round I fucked up the slip and then got caught at the pin pad, and he got the win for that. And then in the fourth round, a couple bad slips on my end. I think I should have been able to slip a lot easier and get to the strap, but I wasn't actually trying to slip. I wasn't really sure what I was doing in that moment.
Sometimes I find that with that high posting top roll as your way to the slip is that it works, so you get stuck between going for it and going for the slip, and there's a point in between them that you can get kind of hung up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I had to slip to get out of it, because I knew I was about to be pulled over to the side of the table.
And you noticed you weren't cupping as hard as you should have been when doing it, so that's part of the, like, some people cup really hard, so they end up hanging on to matches they should just slip from, and then, or not maybe should, but that's what their tendency. And then if you don't really cup that hard, you end up like in that hesitation.
Yeah, I think
a
great example was what happened in Tyler and Joseph's match. Like Tyler got top rolled Joseph, got him over to his side of the pad, but then got caught in a finger battle, and Joseph was so good that he was able to like just squeeze the shit out of Tyler's fingers, almost break them, and press him down to the pad.
Yeah,
that's totally what Umesh should have done, but
Well, that's experience. There's
Experience,
the
yeah, for
difference.
sure.
That's why Tyler and Joe's match, they've both been pulling for like 5 or 6 years, or 6 or 7 years, or something. Like
Yeah.
they've been pulling for both of them, well more than 5 years. So the experience level, all of a sudden you see all that part of arm wrestling play out. You know,
Yeah.
where in your match it did, even just like once you got the slip, once you got to the strap, like that whole setup and stuff.
Yeah,
there,
that was epic.
Yeah, that was awesome. But it was also your setup. Like we practice a lot in the strap, and once you got to the strap, you were just like way more comfortable with the setup and everything than he was, and that made a big difference. I think that was, to me, the most impressive part of the whole like match for you and everything, was that each round that you won with a different lane, which is pretty cool. Like like you said, the game plan didn't really work. I think I would argue that it did, except for round 3 and maybe your slips. But even though they didn't go perfect, you got them. Is that round 1 you high posted and got it, and he hung on, and you were able to take him to the pad perfect. Round 2, you kind of did the same thing as Derek. You forgot your back pressure a little bit, but as soon as you realized you got caught in the hook, before you got pinned, yourself pulling yourself back, but then getting to your defensive hook as quickly as you could, which is not what you did with Derek. And with Derek, you were trying like to drag still while in a hook.
Yeah.
But with Umesh, you didn't do that at all. As soon as you got caught in the hook, you started to drive up and get close to your arm, and then you started to pull slowly and work and get to a good position. So that was perfect game plan wise. Like that was like, okay, if it doesn't go this way, it's going to go this way. If it goes that way, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And you did that perfect. Then round 3, maybe you were starting to get a little like, okay, I got this. And then he basically did what you just said was what he needed to do, which was grab your fingers and pull you down. And then round 4, you figured out how to slip out of it. And then once you got the strap, it was game over at that point. But
and once Devin bet against me,
yeah, you're right.
That changed the game a little too. Like
that made a big difference. It's that motivation. That's what's so awesome about a live match. That's why it's so much different than a practice poll. You know, is everything about it, having the ref there, the setup, the everything, and then something, the energy like that gets thrown into it. I mean, to be in a super match and have Devin bet against you, and you get to make a bet with Devin in that position is pretty freaking epic.
Yeah, that's a life highlight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I gotta thank Devin again for that, because that was awesome.
Yeah, really, really cool. It's like he said there too. Arm wrestling right now, with all this backyard stuff, because it's being like forced back to its roots, is what he was saying, and I agree with it. Not that I know the roots or anything, I just hear about them. But is the idea? It's just so cool how much arm wrestling is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like it's happening like crazy. There's other tournaments going on. Like even we have BAL 103 August 22nd is when it's going to be, and there's somebody else trying to throw an event that same day. Like we're at the point now where we don't even just have arm wrestling happening every single weekend, because there's pretty sure somebody's doing something on the 25th.
Yep.
I know there's one on the 1st. I think there's something on the 8th. I've got something on the 15th, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then we have the 22nd, which now there's possibly 2 events for. Jesus. And then who knows what's going to happen, but I'm sure somebody on the 29th is going to be like, guess what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then by September, we're going to do another BAL. And in November, the PAL is having an actual, real, legitimate tournament. And apparently Ron Bass is going to be there. Hopefully that still happens. It's going to be fucking epic. But the point is, like, up until then, it's almost like the schedule's full anyway.
Yeah, it's more arm wrestling than ever before.
It's almost. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Like how many we got invited to 3 practices this weekend?
Yeah, we had 3 different practices to choose from. Exactly. It's epic. It's awesome. And as I was just saying, one of those tournaments that we're going to talk about is actually the next time that I get to take on an attempt to
possibly you'll get to deal with them.
No, it's round robin.
It's
a round robin. So, giant round robin. The names on the list are ridiculous. I feel like I've been invited as the rookie punching bag just to be beat up upon, which is fine. I understand.
You like being
I am willing and accepting for the challenge. Just just obviously hope that everything stays together. That's the only thing that you get into when you get into a match as long as this is going to be. So you don't want to suffer any injuries. But regardless of that, we're going to give it all we got.
Yeah.
It's so the list is Curtis Porkchop, Yannick which if you guys know in Ontario, Yannick Quias, I think is how you say his last name. Anyway, Yannick's a beast. He's in this video in the red shirt in the beginning there with Tyler.
Yep.
He's an absolute beast. He's highly ranked there on the 242s. And then Bill Cameron, Louis Bassard, Tyler Robinson,
Dear Lobart?
Dear Lobart, who's trains with Yannick and is stupid strong as well. And he's more of a newer puller too. I think he's like 3 years with a little bit of time off in there. And but he's crazy strong. I think he's only doing left. I don't know if he's doing right as well. But he might be.
So it is right and left.
It's right and left. There's 9 people I think right now for right, and 6 people for left. Evan Bourgoin is supposed to be there. And
maybe Justin Bishop.
Justin Bishop.
Not Justin Bishop. Justin Major.
No, he wasn't going to be. He's not going to be able to make it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, those are the kind of names that were being invited, and Yannick's going to release the whole list later. I don't even know where we're at now.
So 4 weeks.
Who I named, but yeah, August 15th. It's going to be crazy. Obviously, we're going to live stream it, and it's going to be all over the place, and it's going to be a stupid, awesome event. And in that lineup, honestly, if I get a win, that's like huge. If I do at all well, like getting a couple wins, that would be retarded. And I'm not going into it, with expectations of winning, but it's a round robin tournament with a lot of pullers. Any fucking thing can happen. So
exactly.
That's the video. If you like the video,
leave us a comment,
subscribe
for new videos.
You know how it goes. We'll see you next time.
Monkeys out.
Peace.